All right, guys. Hey, this is Mike here with Total Link Solutions. Today we've got Joe Perez from Heart and Hustle Printing on the line here with us. Joe reached out to us a couple months back. We've been talking for about like four months or so. He let us know about his YouTube channel and everything that he's kind of got going on with his business. Definitely caught our eye. Not to mention, not with just what he's doing, but also your background, Joe. I know I didn't mention on this and stuff when we first started talking a few minutes ago, but I do want to take a minute and just kind of say thank you to you. I know you're active duty in the military, so thank you for your service. We do appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So I guess to get started here, why don't you tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel? How many followers are you up to? You're on social media, things like that.
So with YouTube, we have about 14.2 right now, 14,200 subscribers, and it's growing constantly every day. We're usually hitting about 1,000 subscribers a month right now. And then I just started an Instagram page because a lot of people that follow me on YouTube were like, well, if you don't have an Instagram, then you're losing other customers that you can get. So I started an Instagram page, and we're up to about 2,000 2,000 followers on there. And then I don't post a lot on Facebook, the Facebook business page, but I do. I have it linked to my Instagram page where it automatically gets added to that over there.
Awesome. And you're over. I think you mentioned you're over 14,000 subscribers on YouTube now.
Yes.
That's cool. So you're getting quite a bit of comments on there then.
Oh yeah, all the time. I'm constantly busy with it.
I'm assuming most of them are positive and stuff like that. Do you get anybody kind of poking you every now and then?
I don't get really anybody that's poking. It's just more of a like, why didn't you do it this way? Why didn't you do it that way type thing? And those are more of the comments, more of the like the Instagram stuff. I get a lot of stuff on there from Instagram telling me that I've inspired them, and I'm just doing what I want. And then like I say, like my channel is dedicated to helping those that are looking to start out or just starting out. Because I remember when I first started out, there was nobody like to help me learn what I wanted to learn, and I had to get out there, search the videos, do my research and stuff like that, so that I would be able to be where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. And you started your business while you're in the Army too, right? Like you in your notes and stuff that you had sent over, you actually started this kind of as a side thing. If I read this right, one of your instructors needed shirts or something for an event.
Yeah, well, see, we go to different classes as we rank up. So before we rank up, we have to go to a class. And while we're in that class, we're getting ready to graduate. And they had said, usually for classes, what we do is whenever they get ready to graduate, we make T-shirts. Someone come up with a design, and there was like 3 of us. They're like, someone come up with a design. Once you guys come up with a design, someone will pick it. Once they pick it, we'll go from there. So mine ended up getting picked, and I was pretty excited about it. Then I went to the little shop that was there on post, and I turned in my image to them, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll get it done. Like 2 days later, they called me and was like, hey man, can you come in here and show me how you did this? So I was like, all right. So I went in there, and then I started messing with it, and then they were like, don't leave. We're gonna make one before you leave. And basically, I did all the hard work, and all they had to do was click the send button. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's it. I was like, okay, I got to look into this right here.
Nice. So you did all their work for them.
yeah. Because when I got there, I was on the customer side, and I was like, oh yeah, just press this, and they're like, just come back here. So I went back there. They're like, go ahead, do what you got to do. So I did it, and they were like, okay. They then dropped it into their program, hit send, and I was like, wow.
Was that a DTG or were they doing a screen print?
No, they were doing a screen print thing for us.
Nice, very nice. So then from there, you just kind of flourished from there, so to speak.
Yeah, so that's why I said I went, because we were staying in hotels while we were there. So I was like, I went back to the hotel. I called my wife, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna look into this T-shirt stuff. So I just started poking my nose around YouTube, just typing it in, and just got hooked from there.
What was your first piece of equipment?
The first piece of equipment that I bought was a vinyl cutter. So I did, like I said, I did some research. I was like, okay, screen printing. Let's look at screen printing. Let's look at vinyl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always say like, for someone that is just starting off, I would say go with vinyl. And the simple reason is because screen printing, there's so much stuff, so much equipment that you have to buy just to do a multicolored job. You know what I mean? With vinyl, you don't have to do so much. If you have a computer and a basic cutter, you're good to go. Well, and a heat press.
Well, you beat me on that next round of questions and stuff ahead of time.
Okay.
So there you go. No, that's awesome. Do you have any samples of your work there around? Just out of
I
curiosity.
don't, well, I'm doing, yeah, I got one right here. So here's actually one that I'm working on right now. This is a 3-color job. I don't know if the light's too bright with y'all's really bright white ink that y'all got over there. But this is a white with black, and then it has some of y'all's opaque gray in there. What was it? Russell gray. So it's
Russell, right,
the bright white with the opaque black, and then the Russell gray inside of that. So this is a 3-color job.
it almost looks reflective and stuff on the screen.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, maybe that'll work a little better.
Yeah, no, that looks cool right there.
Yeah, so that's the back right now. I'm just doing the back on all of them, and then I gotta do some sweaters, and then we're gonna knock out the front of them.
Awesome, great job. Hey, is there any chance you can take that camera and flip it around? Can we see your shop?
It's just a garage, nothing really fancy.
Hey, yeah, show it off. Let's see
So-
what you got.
So if we look, it's just my laptop that we're using right now.
Okay.
But if I switch you guys over here, this is my table right here where I do my exposure. This is what I use right here. This one, when I got it, just came with a cheap press that I had bought back before. This little sponge thing right here. I see a lot of people, to keep their image flat, they use something underneath it. So I found this and I use that. Works perfect. Just a piece of glass there that I use. There's a screen that you sent me. The screen you sent me right there.
Oh, the one with the glitter and stuff on there. Nice.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to mess with that yet, but so that's my exposure unit, and then
Awesome.
right here is where my inks are at, and then I got your guys' squeegees down here also.
Very cool. Very cool.
And then move you over here. That's my setup right there. This is
That's a 4-color press.
Yeah, it's a 4-color.
Single station, or is it?
Yeah, just a single station.
Nice. And so you're doing pretty well and stuff with a single station 4-color press then.
Yeah, I have been. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad. So, and then this little container, or whatever you want to call this. I made this myself, and then I didn't have a dark room, so I made this right here to put my screens in there after I put
screens.
on.
No, that's awesome. I mean, seeing things like this, this is really what, helps inspire other people, and,
Yeah.
that are, they can't afford to just jump into a storefront or, get a 30,000 square foot warehouse or something.
Yeah.
This is where most, businesses in this industry get started, and seeing things like, how are you doing this in your garage and stuff like that, with, the press setup, your exposure setup, where you're storing your screens and stuff before you expose them, things like that. I mean, that people need to see that they can do things like that, and that's great.
And whenever I did a video on whenever I made this table, and I had a couple people reach out to me on Instagram, and they were like, "Hey man, do you mind if I make it?" And I was like, "Nah, I even made the plans for it." So I sent them the plans, and then they sent me pictures of what they did also. So
that's awesome. So I guess your kind of next evolution in the business and stuff, you mentioned you guys got a 22-foot trailer for doing on-site printing.
Yeah, we end up, because our thing was, do we open up a storefront or do we do something different? So we went ahead and went with a 22-foot trailer. So we were excited about it, and we still are. Don't get me wrong. It's just we picked it up right before everything got locked down with the COVID-19 stuff going on. But
Yeah.
we did do one little church thing that they had, and a lot of people that came up were like, "Wow, I never seen this before."
Yeah, it's unique. There's very few people out there doing that right now, and the people that are, you can make a good amount of money in the industry and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
especially with your situation where you're like you had mentioned, you're not sure where you're going to be, with the army and stuff like that. Location wise, that's. I mean, you talk about hustling right there. I mean,
yeah,
that's you found ways to work around, and instead of getting a storefront, you're able to bring your business where you go, and to the events in your area,
yeah.
and do those jobs. It's a great way to kind of tackle the industry, and what you do and what your love and passion for this is.
Yeah, and whenever I first got it, I had my neighbors. We just made a couple shirts with my design on it, with my logo, and I had my neighbors. I was like, "Hey, come try this out and tell me what y'all think about it." And they were like, "Man, this is." They were like, "Dang, that's cool!" Like they had never seen anything like it. You know what I mean? So we're
Yeah.
excited about it. We're excited about it. I'm hoping everything clears up by July 4th because on base they do a really big thing, and last year they had over 40,000 people out there. So
Oh wow.
they've already reserved me a spot, and so I'm excited about it. Hopefully, everything clears up by then, so we can get back to normal.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's this whole COVID thing has kind of thrown a wrench in a lot of businesses, not just screen printing, but everywhere in the country and stuff and worldwide. So,
Yeah,
you know, I, I, I hope it doesn't affect you business wise or anything like that. I know COVID has unfortunately, had some negative effects towards a lot of businesses in this industry.
yeah,
Um, I'm sure I'm not sure if you've seen it per se or anything like that, but it seems like a lot of our customers are having, events canceled, due to
yeah,
COVID, which is, in turn then canceling, they're getting their jobs canceled and not able to purchase supplies and everything else. So,
yep,
it's
that's
kind of
true.
a trickle down effect, starting with the events and then hitting you guys, mostly hitting you guys the hardest
Yeah,
with
yeah,
everything.
and it has, but I just if it gets slow and for social media purpose wise, I'll just do something for a family member. I'll put it
Okay.
out there, even if it's just like creating a design for someone, and then I'll just put it online and get lucky. We'll sell like 5 or 6 designs, you know what I mean? And then people either they don't have the ability to do that with by purchasing the design, so then they'll reach out and be like, hey. Um, can you make me one of those? You know what I mean? So,
Very nice. So, what would you say? Well, how long? First off, how long have you been doing this now for? How many years?
so we've been doing it. I've been doing it since the end of 2017. So, whenever I first started, it was just like, let's just see. It started because my daughter wanted to do YouTube, right? So, whenever I got my equipment in, I was like, let me, because she was always shy. She didn't want to do anything. And I was like, well, let me show you. We'll just film this and see where we go with it. We'll just film our journey and see where it takes us. So we can always look back to see, like, look, this is where we started from our bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so we started at the end of 2017, December 2017. And whenever that's when I got my equipment in. I recorded my first video, and then it was like the beginning of 2018 whenever I did my first decal. Whenever I guess we could say we first officially kicked it off.
Very nice. So, in that time period, what do you think your most? I don't want to say your biggest job, but what do you think your most successful project or job has been so far?
Most successful.
Like, you could classify that any way you want, really. Like maybe which one
I
are
would
you most
say
proud of? Maybe.
I would say the one that I'm most proud of is a and it was when I first started, and a lot of people don't realize this. And it was a video that I recorded. My brother called me. He's like, "Yeah, I want to get some sweaters made for my kids," and I was like, "All right." So I recorded the video and I put it up on YouTube. And the reason I say it's my most successful is because off of YouTube I've made so much money on that video. It's crazy. And I have on that video alone, I'm almost at 300,000 views.
Oh wow. Are you at a point on YouTube where you're actually making money on the views?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, nice. Very
After
nice.
your first 1,000 subscribers, you get monetized.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's just kind of a nice reoccurring, side
Yeah.
part of the business for you too. Then.
Yeah. And then I got affiliated with Amazon. So with just by making the videos and put in my stuff in there, like, oh, I use this microphone right here. You guys could want to find out more about this microphone. The information is down below. They click it, they buy it. I get a percentage out of it. So I make decent amount of money off of YouTube and Amazon. So
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that and stuff.
yeah,
That's a possibility. You know, they think that people are just out there making videos and stuff like that, and they don't realize that there's actually, you know, not just to self promote, but they can actually make a living doing things like that with the promotion side of it, you know, to get that money from YouTube and stuff for the views. What would you say I would, you know, if you were going to give a startup business any piece of advice, what would you say that, you know, what would be that one thing that you could do if you could do differently? What would that be?
if I could do differently,
You know, like now, like looking back now, you've been in the industry for, you know, a number of years now, thinking like, okay, year one, man, I really wish I knew this then, what would that be? Like, if you could say, one thing.
I would say just be consistent. You know what I mean? Like, don't try to overdo it. Don't try to take on too many different, because there's a lot of different things that you could do. Like, if you're gonna start off with vinyl, I would say stick with it and master it. Don't be like my brother once told me. My dad was. He was a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So that would be what I would say is, and I was guilty of it. You know what I mean? Because I was like, oh, I did the vinyl. Okay, let me do this. Let me do that. Just be a master of what you're doing before you jump into something different.
100% agree with you on that. There's everybody, and I think that's realistic. I think that's why a lot of businesses fail, in this industry space. I think a lot of people tend to, like you said, take on too much, without fully knowing it. They see the dollar sign sometimes and they're like, oh, well, I'll learn it as I go. But then that consistency component, whereas you might be doing awesome work on your screen printing, but you're just learning embroidery or heat transfer vinyl and it doesn't come out so good, it looks bad on your business, so, not saying to avoid it, but, learn it before you offer it, and like you said, take your time, grow it and, really master it before you start expanding outward.
Yep. Exactly. And that's why, once I did my research on screen printing and heat transfer vinyl, I was like, this heat transfer vinyl, you put it in a program, you cut it, you heat press it, and you're done. With this stuff right here, if you're just starting off, there's a lot more that goes into that than just buying a press, screen printing setup. Because then you got to get just like the emulsion, the burning, the washout. You know what I mean? There's so much that goes into it. So. Yeah,
there is a lot that goes into it. A lot of people, in the screen printing, not so much in the industry, but, I'm sure you've probably seen it with customers. They just, they'll come to you and say, hey, can you just make me one of these shirts screen printed? They don't realize all of that goes into it to make one.
Yeah. And I was the same way. I was like, why can't you just make me one? And they're like, you just don't understand. And I'm like, well, whatever. But now that I've been doing it, yeah, you just can't do just one.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you on that 100%. So, what's next? Like, where are you going from here and stuff? What's next and stuff with the business, social media? Like, what do you got planned and stuff? I guess, during this whole COVID thing, like, do you have any, videos planned out and stuff for your YouTube channels, like that you're, producing, so to speak?
I am, as of right now, this actually the shirt that I just showed you, I am shooting a video on that. A lot of my videos are like 30 to 45 minutes long. And the reason is because I like to try to fill in all the blanks that someone might have a question about. But like I said, with these, it's going to be like something for someone that's just starting out. And I always put that out there because I don't want you'll have someone who's a professional. They'll get on the channel like, oh, this guy's screen printing. Let me see what his work is about. So I always put out there, if you're a screen printer and you're doing this, you're going to know everything that I'm doing. And maybe my channel is not for you. You know what I mean? My focus is more of the person that has the questions and they're just starting out.
That's awesome. And you're 100% right. There are a lot of people that'll go out there and, the professionals will come out and, they'll troll the guys like you or, other businesses and stuff like that, so to speak. And, it's what you know and what you're teaching, is extremely valuable to 95% of the industry. A lot of people, even if you're just teaching them one thing that they didn't know, they
Yeah.
didn't know that before they watched your video. I mean, it's a huge asset to have these types of videos and educational pieces out there, on YouTube. So, thank you for, making these videos and educating the public and stuff like that, because they need it out there and stuff. And,
Yeah, no problem.
they
So
don't see the real side of it. They'll
yeah,
see, fluffed up videos that are out there of,
yeah,
where they skip 10 steps and it's like, hey, I've got this screen in my hand now, all I do is stick it under a light. They don't see the whole process of,
yeah,
all the variables that go into coding it,
yeah,
humidity,
yeah.
time, everything. They don't see all of that.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people, like, I don't have the expensive exposure units. I have that light right there. It don't take me 15 seconds to do it. It takes me about 5 minutes. You know what I mean? But I haven't had any problems with it. You know what I mean? And then when I wash out my screens, I don't have a fancy washout booth. I got 2 containers and I put them together and cut a hole out, and it works tremendous for me. It's what works. And a lot of people that are just starting off, if they don't have the $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever it is to go out and buy an exposure unit or a washout booth. This is the alternative way to go right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and it's a smart way to do it too.
Yeah,
A lot of people will get in trouble, financially and stuff when it comes down to it. They'll go out and they'll lease, $5,000-$10,000 worth of equipment, and then
yeah.
things will happen. Like what about
This,
think about somebody who, back in January or right around the end of end of 2019, like trying to save on their tax money, they went out and they leased, a whole new shop's worth of equipment. They bought an automatic press.
yeah,
Now what? What are they doing with it right now? Like, you
yeah,
never know what's going to happen and stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
And
scary.
that's what I try to avoid is the leasing or financing something if I don't have to. So I just every time I make money, I always put it into savings. I'll just save it, and then once it comes time to, like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna buy an exposure unit now. So let me just buy it because I saved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's not like you can't do what you're doing right now without that new shiny exposure unit.
Yeah.
You've mastered your setup, and
Yeah.
that's one thing that I'm sure you can attest to. It doesn't really matter what equipment you have. If you can get the job done and you know how to use your equipment,
Yeah.
you'll be able to get any job done that you need to within the realm and the specs of what your capabilities are.
That's so
You
true.
don't need a $10,000
It's,
exposure to, burn
yeah.
a screen when you're able to master with what you have right there to get the job done.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like even when I had that first press, I'm not gonna put their name out there, but when I had that first press, you know what I mean? I ordered it. I went to put it together. The instructions were horrible, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." Once I got it together, took me. I did it. I even did a video on it. On putting that thing together and how frustrating it was to put it together. And then the bearing that came with it wasn't even set right. So the thing sat crooked. Had to, like, it was so frustrating. And then when I got this new one right here, everything came set. All I had to do was put the arms on there. I was like, oh, that's so much easier. Yeah.
I think we've all had experiences like that. I had my own shop for about 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember the first press I had got, and it was a nightmare. Similar experience, things didn't line up, things weren't level, it just, it didn't come together the way that I had visioned, and it looked like it did on the internet. So
And I'll show you right now. Even today, I still make mistakes. I got whenever I was doing this, you know what I mean. These aren't really cheap. Whenever you go out and you want to, I try to buy good stuff for people that are gonna wear it. So I usually buy the Bella Canvas stuff. And when I was screen printing the shirts, I was like, okay, I'm done. And then what I forgot to do was raise the off contact a little bit for the sweaters. And whenever I did it, it pulled the whole thing off, and I was like, so that's the white underbase right there. But once I lifted the screen, it lifted this whole piece off, and I was like, okay. I
Yeah.
got excited of getting them done, and then all of a sudden I was like, all right, you know what? I just need to reset, go to bed, and then we'll worry about it tomorrow.
That you kind of you touched on another thing right there that most screen printers, as they've been in the industry and stuff like that, there's some classes out there and stuff like that, 2-3 day training classes and stuff like that, and they're great. I'm not going to knock them or anything like that. We offer them as well, and they're great, intro classes to the industry, but
Yeah,
you're not going to learn everything all in a class like that.
yeah, you
The
don't.
biggest thing in this industry is experience.
Yeah,
And, as you go through it and your mistakes, it might cost you $5-10 for a shirt, that you messed up on, but look at it as your tuition.
yeah, yeah,
It's really the only way to learn is by screwing up.
yep, yep. And that's because whenever I was doing it, I was like, man, this PMI tape is not holding it down. I was like, why didn't the PMI tape hold it down? And I got in touch with another YouTuber, and he's like, when it comes to sweaters, man, you got to use tack spray or something. He's like, and you have to use it on every single one. So I was like, I mean, I'm like now I can't say I'm in a position, but I'm just glad that now that I'm doing YouTube videos and going to the shows and meeting other YouTubers, you know what I mean, and other creators that do this. It's good to know that I can always reach out to them and be like, hey man, like this is what's happening. Can you tell me why? And they'll be like, without even thinking about it, they'll be like, yeah, do this. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, that's all the questions I have for you today and stuff on here. Is there anything you want to touch on before we wrap this up and stuff?
No, not really.
All right, man.
I'll
Well,
be. Yeah,
hey,
that's
why
it.
don't you plug your YouTube channel and your social media and stuff, and then we'll wrap this up here for you.
All right. So if you want to check out my videos on YouTube, like I said, everything that I do is dedicated to people that are just starting out, or those of you that are thinking of starting out. So if you guys are interested and you want to check out my YouTube channel, just go to Heart and Hustle Printing. You could look that up. You could Google it. I'm usually the only one that pops up. You'll see my Instagram, my Facebook, and my YouTube channel.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Joe. I really appreciate it, man. It was awesome getting to sit down and talk to you here for the last half hour or so. Really impressed with what you got going on over there. And, again, thank you for everything, for serving. And, good luck, man. I can't wait to keep following you on here and stuff and seeing all the cool things you got coming.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support from you guys. I appreciate the inks that you sent me the last time. Like I said, I will get that purple glitter out, and I do want a screen printed shirt for that. I just haven't had time right now.
Not a problem, man. It's been a little bit crazy out there in the world. So, yeah. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, have a great day, man.
All right, you too, man.
All right, bye.
Bye.